Good morning, everybody. It's about 9:30 here. It's Saturday, and it's a little bit later for a video log, but whatever. It is. I think we've kind of decided that every Thursday is what we're aiming for, but if it's like a couple of days before or a couple of days after, I think it's okay. As long as we keep these coming every week. So we got something a little bit quick for you this week. A long time ago, if you remember, maybe if you watched on our live stream, we had mentioned that we wanted to take the year-end video that we do, and we wanted to make them throughout the year. Just kind of make each video as we play through a game, or maybe just do a whole bunch at once and kind of bank them so we can put together the whole episode at the end of the year, and really takes a lot of that stress off during the holidays. So try put together a couple of those, and we're gonna show them to you as this week's video log, which is good because he did those a couple of weeks ago, and he's been really deep into this 3DS capture video, which is probably going to be out either today or early tomorrow morning. He's just putting the finishing touches on it. I'm working on Phantasy Star, which is like stupidly long. I don't know why it has ended up to be like this, but it's at the point now where it's like not even fun anymore. It's like it's gonna be like a 50-minute episode, which there's no reason for it to be that long. But I'm kind of viewing it as basically the last original series Phantasy Star video I'll ever do. So I just want to kind of put everything in there if I can. And it kind of touches on just about like all the spin-offs, you know, just like through passing, you know, kind of explains like the history of the series a little bit. I mean, if you've already seen the preview that I posted up a few weeks ago, then I guess you know what to expect. But what it's kind of turned into now is it's something with both of us in it. We recently decided that the fact that there are two of us is something that we really need to play up more, and just try to make every episode with both of us in it. And I think that like the way that this episode has kind of come together is I do the history of the series, and then also the original versions, and then try to like all the emulation ports. And it's turned out to be it's like 50 minutes. I have a good amount done, but I think for this episode, the thing that's made me the most nervous is that, you know, I didn't play through all these different versions completely. So I've been getting footage from everything, but a lot of stuff doesn't have a lot of like certain versions don't have any like late game stuff and for any of them. So it's just kind of breaking it down, giving us specific examples of certain things. I guess I just get worried about the footage being like starting to look a lot like really samey after a while, which is a concern, I guess, and that is one of the reasons I've spent a lot of time shooting a lot of B-roll of footage, you know, just like with my camera for the first half of the video, so that once we really get into the different ports and stuff like that, then you don't feel like you've been watching for 50 minutes and all the footage looks the same. So what else have I been doing? I mentioned a couple weeks ago, and and it's happened. I'm learning how to solder. I've been working with changing all the batteries out of my old game cartridges, and it's been a lot of fun. This is not something that I expected to be enjoying as much as I am, but I'm kind of into it. Like originally, I just wanted to change out 2 batteries. I just really wanted to change out my original Phantasy Star, which the battery had died, and my Secret of Mana, which the battery had died. But now I've kind of gotten into this groove where I am taking all the, like any game that doesn't have any save games on them, and I'm just swap them out because I like the idea of not having to worry about this for another 20 to 25 years, and by then I'm going to be in my 60s. It's not going to even matter probably anymore. But if it does, then, you know, I'll probably have enough free time by then to be able to dedicate some time to this again. So it's gonna be something I'm gonna stay on top of probably going forward. I've done about 25 so far, but now we're starting to get into the save games that that I'm sentimental for and I want to keep. So I bought a Retro 2 so I can see if I can dump the saves and copy them back, and that's like a whole other thing. Like, I'm planning a video on this. I've mentioned it many times, where it's about preserving these saves, your save games from cartridges, but also changing the batteries, and also maybe taking save games from another source and putting them onto the game cartridge. So I'm kind of interested to see if this is going to work, because I found a way to extract the save files from Virtual Console games, and when I was like kind of out of games, but I was playing a lot of stuff on Virtual Console, I played through a lot of games 100% that way. So I was able to extract those save files, and I put them on my SCDS and NES, and it works. So I'm wondering if I can take those same SRAM files and put them on the cartridge. So that's going to be something I'm getting into and we'll be experimenting with. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It has me excited to replay some of these games that I've lost my save file. Like, I'm definitely going to, even though you'd think I'd be burnt out on it, I'm really excited to play all the way through my childhood copy of Phantasy Star and make a new save game on there that I can, that will be like my own, and on my own cartridge. I don't know, I have a weird fondness for save files in that way. I guess I'm paranoid. I back up all my PS3 saves, I back up all my Xbox 360 saves, back up all kinds of saves and stuff like that. I backed up all my PS1 saves to like PS2, and also I copied them to the PS3, and then also take that and back that up to a flash drive. All this like weird stuff that's probably above and beyond. Anyways, enjoy Try's video of Yooka-Laylee and Dust.
The N64 may be a divisive console, but for those like me who lived and breathed N64 during the late 90s, the nostalgia is in full swing. When former Rare developers Playtonic Games brought Yooka-Laylee to Kickstarter in 2015, N64 fans came out of the woodwork to support the project, and records were shattered in mere minutes. But when the game was delivered in 2017, reception seemed a bit less enthusiastic, although I never read up on the specific reasons for the disappointment. I generally figured it was the usual case of people forgetting how to love old-fashioned games and resolved to judge it for myself. All the same, I never got around to getting Yooka-Laylee myself until the physical Switch release. This version is interesting for having been developed in-house by Playtonic rather than ported by Team 17, as had been done for the PS4 and Xbox One releases, with numerous smart tweaks to optimize the game for Nintendo's console, as outlined by Digital Foundry. And ultimately, yes, the game does feel a touch rough around many edges, particularly camera and controls. Whether time, budget, or the Unity engine is to blame, I don't know. But regardless, I feel Yooka-Laylee accomplishes what it set out to do. It's a game about poking your head into every corner, finding things, and figuring out how to get those things. Yooka-Laylee gives the player 5 huge worlds to explore. Yes, only 5, but each world has quite a lot of content and can be expanded to have even more to do after a certain number of pages have been collected. The world expansion is an interesting mechanic, although I did wish the worlds were just fully featured from the get-go. After a rather slow start, I found myself really getting into a groove with the game. It's extremely non-linear and generally does not guide you to acquire necessary or useful moves before attempting to go for particular items, which I actually found to be a refreshing change of pace over Yooka-Laylee's main inspiration, Banjo-Kazooie. I found Banjo to be much less replayable than many other N64 games in some ways because it's almost too perfect. Yooka-Laylee is much less afraid to let you approach a situation in a way that feels wrong, and allow you to succeed while doing so. For example, maybe you already unlocked an ability that lets you skip part of a challenge, or perhaps you're missing an ability, but you find a way to brute force your way through part of a level anyway. It's this sort of flexibility that truly brings me the feelings of nostalgia. a flexibility that games like Mario 64 and GoldenEye excel in, while Banjo-Kazooie felt almost too carefully planned out. So despite what you may have heard, Yooka-Laylee is still worth playing. Just don't forget what it's supposed to be. Originally released on Xbox Live Arcade in 2012, I finally played the widely acclaimed Dust: An Elysian Tale via the physical release on Nintendo Switch by Limited Run Games. I knew very little going into the game other than it was mostly made by one person, is apparently good, and the characters were animals of some kind. I expected to probably like it, but I found myself much more taken by the game than I expected. The main draw here is the combat. It's just a lot of fun, with most encounters pitting you against large numbers of enemies that you can fling around the screen however you wish. The mysterious protagonist Dust is extraordinarily powerful, and the game does an excellent job of making you believe he really could take on endless hordes of monsters and soldiers as a one-man army. Well, a one-man army greatly assisted by his small orange flying companion Fidget. Dust has your basic XY attack combo system, but it's not overly complicated. Fidget casts small spells that Dust can magnify with his Whirlwind Blade attack, which can really rack up the hit counter for some nice bonus experience. It might look chaotic, but it's actually quite manageable overall. But when you do get hit, even on normal, it tends to really hurt, so I wonder how tough the game is on the highest difficulties. RPG elements are solid and don't feel tacked on, making for noticeable jumps in power as the game progresses. Exploration looks Metroid-esque at a glance, but areas are sectioned off by a world map, and overall I would compare it to something more straightforward like a Vanillaware game than Metroid or Castlevania. Dust also has a number of side quests, which I expected to be a pain and something I would mostly ignore, but I ended up finding them to not be annoying at all and wound up doing a good several of them. My biggest complaint with Dust is that the character art has a somewhat amateur look to it, with a very basic inking and shading style, feeling rather like something you'd see in an early 90s CD game, although to be fair, I kind of got a working designs vibe from the characters and writing, so maybe that's what the game's creator Dean Dodrill was going for.
My name is Dust, and this is Fidget.
Hiya! Don't mind Mr. Grumpy. He's not big on the whole eye contact thing.
Dust himself has excellent animation, however, and the backgrounds and environmental effects are quite beautifully rendered. Despite expecting a good game, I got more out of Dust than I thought I would. Even though this is technically a last-gen digital download title, it still holds up great in the areas where it counts.